Hey everyone, welcome to this Q&A video where I answer your questions to the best of my ability. We're starting things right away with question number 1 from Free Smoke TCB. How do you balance gaming, streaming, and being a supportive partner and father? It's definitely not easy balancing it all, for sure. I mean, I have a 9 to 5 job. I have to make sure that I drop off my daughter to daycare, pick her up from daycare. When we do pick her up from daycare, obviously we go through the whole routine of putting her to sleep afterwards as well. I mean, we hang out with her, we feed her naturally as we feed ourselves. So we have to cook and all that good stuff. Put her down. When I put her down, that's when I start streaming. And then essentially after that, I do some editing and then I finally get to sleep and sort of repeat the cycle the next day over. Having a schedule is key. I almost exclusively stream Mondays to Thursdays after the little one has gone to sleep and make sure I leave my weekends open to make sure I spend some time with my wife, my friends, all that jazz, and family as well. That seems to work for the most part. And you know what? That actually leads me to question number 2, which came from none other than my wife, Laura, who asked me, "What do you appreciate most about your wife?" And of course, she would ask that question. But that kind of ties in nicely to point number 1 because without my wife's support, I don't think I'd be able to do what I'm doing right now. Um, this is a hobby of mine that I've really taken a liking to, I've taken a shining to in the past couple of years, and it's something that I've done even back 10 years now, where I did some content creation, some YouTube stuff mostly, with the occasional stream here and there. And now, being in my 30s, I've actually just have a lot more stability than I did in my 20s, which just comes with age. And thankfully, the wife has been very supportive of me, streaming and gaming, and she sees that it's something that I really truly enjoy, and that's definitely something that I do appreciate about my wife. And I think we're pretty good about that for each other, is that we always support each other's initiatives and hobbies. And that's truly I think that's truly the best thing you could ask for in a partner. Being supportive of what you enjoy the most in life. These next 3 questions I'll probably answer in quick succession since they are very similar. So Kayla Rupi asked, "How are you so cool?" I don't know. Can you be cool in your 30s? I guess you can, right? I guess you can. So I couldn't tell you. I mean, if you think I'm cool, I appreciate that. Um, Maybe I'm hip at best. At best. So these next 2 questions came from D Swish and iWhiskey. D Swish asked, "Why are you such a Chad and good at ninjas?" And iWhiskey asked, "Were you always a ninja, or did you find your ninja hood through Halo?" Well, let's take a look at this clip.
I pay my respects.
So as you can see, I've taken a shining to ninjas since the beginning of Halo Infinite, essentially, and since the beginning of me starting my stream up once again back in February 2022 now. And it's just something that I've always enjoyed. I certainly enjoy the gunplay, I would say, more than anything in Halo Infinite. Although to an extent, I'm kind of known for ninjas. It's not the only thing that I do, but it's certainly on top of the list of things I enjoy doing. Now, in terms of ninjahood, let me expand on that a little bit. I've always enjoyed stealth-based video games. So, for example, Splinter Cell is one of my favorite series. Metal Gear Solid is also another one that's up there. I've always enjoyed that type of gameplay. So I think as a result of that, um, some ninja style gameplay has crept into Halo Infinite to an extent. Next question, Mr. Brodo. Any hogs in the chat? Brodo, you tell me. You tell me.
Oh, you both have fusion coil. You guys are twins.
Any hogs in the chat?
Wait, how the fuck did he type that? He was walking. How did he do that?
Looks like hogs name.
Why?
Wild. And
That was a fun clip of me messing around with text to speech during Drecky's, aka Opera and Powers, stream. We were playing some BTB. That was a lot of fun. Sparty X asking for some friends. What's better, Pepsi or Coke? I think this image explains it a lot. Pepsi sucks. Sticking with the would you rather questions, we have a question here from Alvador816 regarding pepperoni or cheese pizza. Oof, that's a tough one. I think every once in a while I will go for a pepperoni pizza. That being said, I feel like if I were to eat pizza on a regular basis, I would actually prefer cheese, if that makes sense. But if I go like a long stretch of time without having pizza, I would sort of go towards pepperoni and just adding some more, ingredients to the pizza. But a classic cheese pizza, sometimes that hits different. Sometimes that hits different. So here's another would you rather question by Middle Stud. And the question is hair for teeth or teeth for hair? So if I had to choose between having teeth on my head or hairy teeth, I guess, or hair for teeth, it's just so weird. It's so weird. Um, I would probably go for teeth for hair. And the reason I say that is because I'd rather enjoy my food and not worry about a hairball anytime I eat something. Yes, it would look weird to have, well, teeth for hair, but you can always cover that up. You got a hat, you got this and that. So I, it wouldn't necessarily be the most flattering thing in the world, but I'd rather just be able to, eat a regular meal and not have to, yeah, choke on a hairball. This next question is from Seth FBS. Which streamer inspires you the most? This one's actually pretty easy for me. I remember a couple years ago when I was considering coming back to streaming at a more consistent basis, looking at the Halo Infinite directory and checking out, what everyone was doing, who was who, all that good stuff. And I remember coming across Eli X's channel. And Eli X for me is the epitome of what a streamer should be. I know it's very high praise, but honestly, the way he presents himself, the way he handles his business, um, the and also I guess the other aspect of it too is like I also felt like I related more with his style of streaming. Very cool, calm, collected, um, cracked at the game, obviously, and the fact that I had the opportunity to even play in an HTS grassroots play day with him as a duo was amazing and definitely a highlight for me over the past couple of years, hands down, hands down. So that's the answer.
Oh my god, I saw it in 4K Ultra HD.
Let's go. Now, this next question, or set of questions, I should say, is from Kumaru. And there's 4 questions. So I'm going to sort of like, I want to speed run through these, but I'm going to go ahead and tackle them a little bit quicker, I think, just because there are a set of questions. First question. Have any tips, advice for those wanting to get better at Halo? I think the first advice and the most key advice anyone could have for Halo, mechanics, game sense, all that stuff aside, is play your life, which, you know, sounds easier said than done. But the harder you are to kill in Halo, the harder it is for the enemy team to take control. And you also become a nuisance. You affect spawns. There's just so many elements to staying alive. So even if you're not necessarily like the damage dealer or the slayer of the team, if you're a nuisance and always living with, 1 HP, that's a big, big, big deal. So that would be my number one piece of advice. Now, what inspired you to start streaming and what helps you to keep going? That's tough. You know what? For me, it was something that I already did in terms of like the gaming aspect of things. And I thought to myself, you know what, especially after COVID, um, just to get a little bit more social and out there. I mean, I have my IRL friends, but um, I thought it would be a great opportunity to get to know more people, get to play some games with new friends, and I made a lot of friends along the way. And I think that's one aspect of it that really helps keep me going is the fact that I do have like a support network and friends that I have met now IRL at Halo events. Well, one Halo event so far, but it's just been such an amazing ride. Got a favorite piece of equipment or software that helps make streaming easier? Now, I am an Elgato ambassador, so this might sound biased, but essentially everything that is stream related or Stream Deck related has definitely helped me. Um, Stream Deck has been a godsend, being able to visually see what I have on and off and being able to switch scenes quickly. However, the other thing I will say is that the Stream Deck pedal, that for me might trump the Stream Deck just by a bit because of how easy it is to use and being able to like mute on Discord and unmute on Discord when you have party chat going on is just amazing. While you're still have your hands on your controller and never been having to take it down to press like a mute button is just something I that facilitates it so much for me. But honestly, the duo between the Stream Deck and the Stream Deck pedal, it's kind of hard to beat. It's hard to beat. Oh, next question is a toughie. Favorite game? Okay, so favorite game. I have multiple games. I actually made like a top 10 list, but I guess the one that stands out for me would be Okami. Okami is a game that first came out on the PS2 at the end of its life cycle and actually won Game of the Year for IGN, if I recall correctly. But that's such a great game. Otherwise, there are other games on my list such as GoldenEye and Perfect Dark on the N64, Octopath Traveler, Rocket League, Hades, Blasphemous, Hollow Knight, Ori and the Blind Forest. I kind of cheated there with that list. The Last of Us, Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time for the N64, Halo 1, Halo 2, and even Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles. Just absolute classics. Classics. I have another set of questions here from Phantasma. So I'm going to go ahead and also go through these fairly quickly. So who is your first follower on stream? Funny enough, I went through my followers list and I didn't recognize who the first follower was on my stream, so I'm not entirely sure. That being said, I do recall who my first subscriber is, and here's a clip of that. Brian Wallace with a subscription. Holy shit. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. You're literally the first one ever to sub to the channel since I became an affiliate like a week ago. So you rightfully deserve that first badge. Welcome, welcome. Hope you enjoy that. What are 3 small goals for your 2024 stream? Oof. I hadn't thought of that. I guess first and foremost is just remaining consistent. Number 2 would be probably streamlining a little bit more of my processes to save time on editing and scheduling and all that good stuff that comes with, I guess, the content creation side of things to help me get a little bit more sleep this year. And number 3 is really just continue to grow as a streamer. I don't necessarily mean in terms of like community growth, although that's obviously an element to it, but just becoming the best version of me that I can be. Phantasma's last question was, which animal and or bug do you fear the most? I'm not really much for bugs in general, but I don't think I have a fear of any necessarily, not even spiders, for example. But in terms of animals, I mean, there are some crazy animals out there. I would say maybe alligator, crocodiles. Like, I really don't like the idea of them sinking their jaws into me, and even sea like, I guess even sharks. The idea of being dragged underwater, I think, is what does it for me. Next question comes from Loud Opossum. How many hours do you have on Halo? Well, based on Halo Tracker, I have 1,067 hours played as of this video, with 7,238 matches played. That's where I'm at. So, road to hero soon, maybe. Next question is from Frygout. Do you hate when you have that teammate who sits LR with shock rifle while your teammates are being chased right beside him? Ugh, every time. Yes, 100%. Teammates that seemingly have no audio or no visual cue or just are unaware of their surroundings are definitely frustrating to deal with. Sometimes you're that teammate too. It happens, right? You get tunnel vision. So it happens. What can you do? Boinksy asked, what's your favorite type of music? What are your favorite bands? So I'm not someone that necessarily needs to listen to music on a daily basis. But when I do listen to music, I would say my favorite type of music would have to be sort of like alt or punk rock. I do enjoy some pop as well. I really enjoy any type of music for the most part. Not really a fan of country. Sorry, guys. In terms of favorite bands, I would say Linkin Park is definitely my favorite band of all time, and I think will forever be my favorite band. They just had such a special place in my heart when I was a teenager, and I've just consistently listened to them throughout, like all their albums from the beginning of Hybrid Theory all the way to One More Light. They're the type of band that I could literally listen to every song on the album without skipping. It's just they're just that good in my opinion. Paramore, which I guess is not too different from Linkin Park in terms of type of music, but like Avril Lavigne, for example, I'm a big fan of Avril Lavigne. She's great. um, I really enjoyed Justin Timberlake and Usher back in the day as well. Lots of variety. Lots of variety. Meg McMuffin asks, if you weren't a capital G gamer, what do you think your biggest hobby would be? I think it would be a mix of anime, TV, movies. I would definitely dive into that a little bit more. I've watched quite a few animes. Cowboy Bebop being my favorite. I think I would also be big into reading once again. I've definitely read my fair share of books. I used to read a lot more when I used to commute to work. A little less so now that I'm working from home mostly. Um, and I've always been big into graphic novels. Watchmen was the first graphic novel that I think that I've ever read, and that really opened up my horizons in terms of what a graphic novel can be. So I think reading would be up there as well. This leads well to the next question by Lady Ashley GG. Favorite book or book series, or if you don't have one you would like to read? Well, in fact, I do have a favorite book series, and that is Fables. Fables is a fantastic graphic novel series that follows fairy tale characters in modern day New York. So think of it like the Big Bad Wolf in modern day New York City. He actually goes by the name of Bigby Wolf. You got Snow White and you got Prince Charming. It's a great series. I highly recommend that one. Next question comes from Clear Hit, and it is a hard hitting question. What are your thoughts on the whole Israel Palestine situation? Now, I'm not going to sidestep this question, but I also won't dive into it in too much detail. I feel like whenever you get into anything political or religious in nature, especially online, you have your extremists, your polar opposites, you have people in between, you have people a little bit everywhere along the spectrum of the discussion. Um, and usually, this type of discussion leads to people being very defensive over their point of views and their beliefs, which can be rough. It can be very difficult to have a level-headed discussion on these kind of topics with people, unfortunately. So the one thing I will say is, if we were living in a utopian society, I think most of us would agree that a society where there was no war would be a good one. Now, of course, there's very few things in life that are black and white. It's, quite literally gray, lots of gray that we have in life. But at least in my opinion, not having wars would be just the best of worlds, right? Um, so that's what I would have to say about this whole situation. Regardless of who you think is right or wrong, I think we can all agree that no war is better than a war. Now, this last question comes from Patty. And in fact, he has two questions, but I'm going to start with the first one, which is what is your favorite Halo memory? And for me, that has to be day one Xbox launch with Combat Evolved, simply because that led to so many memories, and Halo Combat Evolved probably remains my favorite Halo to this day. I was very big on the campaign, played it on Legendary, played it with my cousin, whose also name was Nick. And being able to beat that co-op, I remember the last mission, the Maw, and having that Warthog run and how stressful that was, but also how satisfying it was. And honestly, from beginning to end, that campaign was just fantastic. I really enjoyed it. That being said, Halo has led to a lot of memories, like over 20 years later for me, especially since I started streaming Halo Infinite and creating content for the game. I've mentioned this earlier, but I've met so many wonderful people, and they've done so many things for me, and then vice versa. I would like to think. And I remember my birthday celebration. Well, let's run the clip.
That is beautiful.
Happy birthday!
Oh my god.
You saw right. That was a custom forge map built by Skizma, who's a very talented forger. And it was an idea from Malafar and the gang, Malafar being Michaela. And it was such an amazing surprise to be able to hop on a birthday cake that said Happy Birthday Wolf and play some Ninja Slayer on it. It was a ton of fun. It was such a surprise and such a treat. And I can't believe they went through that effort for me. And I guess along those lines, we also had a little bit of a Steve Downs cameo.
This is Steve Downs, the voice of Master Chief, Spartan 117. With this incoming transmission, high priority, incoming for Omniscient Wolf.
Which are things that I think I'll remember for the rest of my life, honestly. Those type of interactions are priceless. And friendships and things change over time. And you don't realize it at the time that it's changing, but it does change. And friends that you have today maybe won't be friends tomorrow, or won't be as close, or maybe you will get closer to some people. That's just life, right? But I will always cherish those memories, along with my first event in Fort Worth.
Kill. APG pops off. We got popcorn flying here. The green wall's back in action.
Got people popping off. We got popcorn flying.
Yes, that's me behind all that popcorn being dropped on my friends. That was such a fantastic event, and that was my first Halo event, going to Fort Worth for the major. That was amazing. The last question is, what do you want to be remembered for after you pass? This is not a question that I've asked myself too much, I would say, because I'm not too concerned about leaving a legacy behind, if that makes sense. I'm more focused about making today count. So, um, you know, for me, I think the big thing for me, just in general, is being kind to one another, being genuinely kind. Like, I don't know, people that I interact with, I do so because I want to, and not because I feel like I'm gonna gain something from that besides, the power of friendship. But I feel like in today's day and age, being kind to one another is more important than ever. Um, and just being there for one another. And I feel like just the world would be a better place, right? If we had that type of mentality. It's not always possible, and not everyone has sort of that good nature to them. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. But I guess if that's something, I guess that's something that I would like to be remembered by. Just someone that was kind and loving to his peers, his friends, his family, and yeah. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching, and a big thank you to everyone who submitted their questions as well. Much love. See you on the next one.